In 1513, a disgraced Italian diplomat, Niccolò Machiavelli, sat down to write a book. It wasn't a book of love. It wasn't a book of morality. It was a manual of raw, uncompromising power. The Prince was a cold-blooded analysis of how to acquire, maintain, and wield dominion over a state. It advised rulers to be feared rather than loved if they cannot be both. To study the art of war in times of peace. To be a lion and a fox. For centuries, it's been the Bible of politicians, CEOs, and strategists. But what if its most potent applications aren't in boardrooms or senates, but in bedrooms? This is not a video about love. Love is a republic, built on equality, shared governance, and mutual vulnerability. What we are discussing today is a principality. A domain of one. A theater of intimate power where desire, psychology, and control intertwine. Welcome to a forbidden thought experiment, the prince in the bedroom. We are going to dissect 7 Machiavellian principles, transposed from the palazzo to the pillow, to understand the mechanics of sexual and psychological dominance. This is an analysis of strategy, not a recommendation for happiness. The tools of a tyrant often corrupt the user. But to understand power, even here, is to be armed against it, or to consciously wield it. Consider this your map to the shadowy geography of seductive control. Context and warning, the moral terrain. Before we begin, we must establish the rules of engagement. Machiavelli wrote for a world where power was the ultimate currency and survival was not guaranteed. Translating this to intimacy is fraught with peril. We are not endorsing manipulation, coercion, or abuse. True dominance, in a consensual and ethical context, is a role played between trusting partners, a game where both parties know the rules and derive pleasure from them. What we are analyzing here are the underlying psychological tricks, the levers of perception, scarcity, emotion, and reward that can create an overwhelming aura of dominance. These are observed patterns. They work on a substrate of human nature, our fear of loss, our desire for what is elusive, our attraction to confidence, our addiction to intermittent reward. Use this knowledge as a scholar, not a sociopath. To defend against dark arts, you must first understand their grammar. Or, if you choose to play the game, to play it with full awareness of its consequences. For as Machiavelli himself might have said, the ends justify the means, is a formula that, in love, leads almost invariably to a lonely and paranoid ruin. Your character is ultimately what you will be left with when the conquest is over. Trick 1. Master the art of appearance. Machiavelli's first, and perhaps greatest, lesson is that perception is primary. Reality is secondary. For a prince, it is not essential to actually possess all virtues, mercy, loyalty, honesty, piety, but it is absolutely essential to appear to possess them. He writes, "Everyone sees what you appear to be, few experience what you really are." In the domain of sexual dominance, this is the cornerstone. You are not trying to be the most dominant person in the room. You are crafting the irresistible perception of it. This is the architecture of your image. The lion and the fox, project the lion's fearless, calm assurance. Your body language is settled, your gaze is steady, your energy is contained, not frantic. But wield the fox's cunning in what you reveal. You are not an open book. You are a cryptic manuscript, offering just enough fascinating text to make the reader desperate for the next page. Craft your foundational myth. Princes have origin stories, the wise ruler, the warrior king, the protector. Your persona needs a hint of one. Are you the disciplined artist? The ambitious visionary? The quietly observant analyst? This isn't a lie. It's the strategic amplification of a facet of your true self that conveys strength and mystery. Control the sensory narrative. Machiavelli's prince controlled symbols, flags, ceremonies. You control the microsymbols. Your attire, intentional, suggesting a standard. Your scent, distinctive, a sensory anchor. Your environment, curated, whether it's a meticulously clean apartment or a selectively shared playlist. Every detail is a brushstroke in the portrait you are presenting. The goal is to become an object of interpretation. When someone is puzzling over who you really are, they are investing emotional energy. They are under your spell. You dominate the psychological space before a single touch is exchanged. Reality, your insecurities, your mundane habits, is kept private, a fortress behind the magnificent facade. The power lies in the gap between what is seen and what is known. Trick 2, cultivate fortune, opportunity, and character, skill. Machiavelli believed history was shaped by two forces, fortuna, blind chance, opportunity, and character, the personal skill, strength, and cunning to seize it. Fortune, he famously said, is like a violent river. You cannot stop it, but you can, through skill, build dams and levees to channel its force. For sexual dominance, fortuna is the opportunity, the party, the dating app match, the accidental glance across the room. Most people are passive before fortune. They hope to get lucky. The Machiavellian builds levees. He puts himself in the path of fortune deliberately. He frequents the right places, cultivates the right social circles, understands the ecosystems where his desired dynamics are likely to flourish. He doesn't wait for the perfect person, he makes himself ready for the moment a potentially perfect person appears. But fortune is useless without character, your actionable skill. This is not just sexual technique, though that is part of it. This is the skill suite of dominion. The skill of conversation, the ability to lead a dialogue into deep, provocative, or playful territories. To listen not just to reply, but to uncover hidden desires and fears. The skill of emotional calibration, reading micro-expressions, tone shifts, and body language. Knowing when to apply pressure and when to retreat. This is the fox's cunning. The skill of physical presence, command of your own body. Movement that is deliberate. Touch that is assured and calibrated, a hand on the small of the back that guides, not gropes. The skill of pleasure, a dedicated, almost scholarly study of eroticism. You aim to become an undeniable source of novel, intense physical experience. This is practical power. Dominance here is the synthesis, creating opportunities through strategic positioning, leveraging fortuna, then mastering them with unparalleled, practiced skill, character. You are not a passenger of chance. You are its pilot. Trick 3, it is better to be feared than loved, the economy of emotion. This is Machiavelli's most infamous dictum. He clarifies, if you cannot be both, it is safer to be feared than loved. Love is fickle, held by a chain of obligation that people break whenever it suits them. Fear is held by a dread of punishment that never leaves them. In the romanticized world of love, this sounds monstrous. But in the economy of intense attraction, fear must be reframed not as terror, but as the acute awareness of potential loss. It is emotional consequence. When someone is in love with you, they may feel secure, comfortable, and eventually, complacent. The chase is over. The dynamic flatlines. When someone fears losing you, their attention is perpetually engaged. You dominate their mental real estate. How is this engineered? The principle of non-neediness, your happiness, your purpose, your emotional stability are not contingent on their presence. You are a complete principality unto yourself. They are a welcomed, celebrated ally, but not the source of your sovereignty. This creates a subtle, pervasive fear, the fear that they are dispensable to your core operation. The withdrawal of presence, Machiavelli's prince was not always in the public square. His absence made his presence more potent. Strategic, unexplained withdrawal, of attention, of availability, is not petty games. It is a demonstration that your time and focus are valuable commodities you control. It punctures comfort and reignites the dread of your absence. The enforcement of standards, you have clear, non-negotiable boundaries, not screamed, but calmly stated and enforced. A disrespectful comment is met not with a fight, but with a chilling, quiet withdrawal of engagement. This is the punishment, not anger, but the removal of your valuable presence. They learn that your goodwill is the condition for access to your world. You become feared in the sense that you have reframed the relationship not as a given, but as a privilege they are conscious of potentially losing. Their desire to retain that privilege becomes a powerful engine of your dominance. Trick 4. The strategic use of cruelty and kindness. Machiavelli advises that a prince must know how to use both the beast and the man. Cruelty, he says, should be inflicted swiftly and all at once, while benefits should be dispensed gradually, so they are savored. In the psychodrama of dominance, cruelty is calculated emotional friction. Kindness is the rewarding release. This is the engine of addictive attachment. Cruelty as precision, this is not abuse. It is the sharp, clean cut of disapproval, of teasing challenge, of withholding validation. It is saying the uncomfortably true thing. It is playfully challenging their worldview. It is the moment you deny an expected reward, a kiss, a compliment, your full attention, because their behavior didn't meet your unspoken standard. This cruelty creates tension, a void that craves resolution. Kindness as reward, once that tension is built, your kindness, your warmth, your approval, your intimate attention, becomes a profound reward. It is not given freely as a default. It is earned and thus valued exponentially more. You dispense it gradually, a rare, genuine compliment after a period of coolness, an unexpected moment of tenderness after a session of intense, demanding play. This intermittent reinforcement is the most powerful conditioning tool known to psychology. The Machiavellian dominant is a master of emotional contrast. He understands that a flat line of niceness is boring. A flat line of meanness is repellent. But a dynamic, unpredictable waveform of mild friction followed by intense reward creates obsession. You become the source of both the anxiety and the relief, the problem and the solution. That is a position of absolute control. Trick 5. Depend on yourself, the arms of your own. The prince who relies on mercenaries or auxiliaries, arms that belong to others, builds his power on sand. They are fickle, expensive, and will abandon you in crisis. True power, Machiavelli insists, comes from having arms of your own, a loyal, native military drawn from your own people. In our context, arms of your own is your intrinsic, self-derived value. It is your mission, your purpose, your internal fortress. No external validation, no partner's admiration, no sexual conquest, can be your primary source of strength. If it is, you are relying on mercenaries. They will fail you, and your principality will collapse. Your primary quest, you must have a central purpose that is more important than any romantic or sexual entanglement. This is your kingdom. It could be your art, your business, your physical transformation, your intellectual pursuit. This quest is non-negotiable and it always takes priority. Partners are allies or consorts in your court, but they are not the kingdom itself. The aura of self-sufficiency, this makes you radically attractive and intimidatingly dominant. You are not seeking completion. You are offering an invitation to join a compelling narrative that exists with or without them. This creates a powerful magnetic pull. People want to be part of a winning, self-contained operation. The power to walk away, the ultimate tool of dominance, is the genuine, demonstrated ability to be perfectly content without the other person. This is the core of your arms. When you can, and will, walk away without your world crumbling, you negotiate from a position of untouchable strength. Your presence is a gift, not a need. Your dominance stems from this impenetrable core. You are not performing dominance for them. You are dominant in your own life, and they are granted an audience with the sovereign. Trick 6. Know how to dissimulate, the art of concealment. Machiavelli praises the fox for its ability to recognize traps. The successful prince, he says, must be a great feigner and dissembler. He must know how to cloak his true intentions, to wear masks as the situation demands. In intimate power plays, full transparency is surrender. Strategic opacity is control. This is not about being a pathological liar. It is about managing information as a precious strategic resource. Conceal your hand, never reveal the full depth of your interest, your investment, or your strategic plans. If you feel overwhelming desire, you reveal a fraction. If you are planning a romantic escalation, you let it seem like a spontaneous impulse of the moment. Your internal calculus, your doubts, your assessments of them, your long-term plans, remains a state secret. Master the poker face of emotion, do not let yourself be easily read. Practice controlling your tells, the disappointment at a cancelled plan, the surge of jealousy, the intensity of your infatuation. Respond, don't react. This creates profound unease and fascination in the other party. They are constantly off balance, trying to decode you, which keeps them psychologically engaged in your frame. Use misdirection, like a magician, direct attention where you want it. A small reveal about your past, perhaps slightly edited for effect, distracts from a current vulnerability you wish to hide. A focus on their desires, which you are studying, prevents them from scrutinizing yours too closely. You become an enigma wrapped in a desire. The less they truly know of your core, the more powerful the projected fantasy they, and you, can maintain. You dominate by remaining an unsolvable, captivating puzzle. Trick 7. Force the painful decision, the ultimatum as weapon. The final, most brutal trick. Machiavelli observes that in times of potential uprising, a prince must force his enemies to declare sides. Neutrality is dangerous. You must force the painful decision, making people choose between two difficult options, both of which serve your ends. In dominance, this means engineering situations where the other person must make a choice that cements your power and reveals their investment. The framing of the choice, you never beg or plead. You present a calm, stark fork in the road. I understand you have other commitments, but what I'm offering requires full immersion. It's okay if you can't give that. But if you want this, the door is here, and these are the terms. The terms are your rules of engagement. The choice is between walking away, and losing access to you, or submitting to your framework. Making them own the submission, this is the masterstroke. By forcing a conscious choice, you make them complicit in their own surrender. They cannot later claim they were tricked. They looked at your rules, weighed the cost of losing you, and chose to submit. This psychologically binds them to the dynamic far more powerfully than if you had simply imposed it. Eliminating ambiguity, the Machiavellian hates ambiguous, middle ground relationships. They are unstable. By forcing the decision, you destroy the middle ground. They are either in your principality, under your rules, or they are outside the walls. There is no wishy-washy territory where they can enjoy your benefits without accepting your sovereignty. This trick separates the casually interested from the truly conquered. It is the final, clarifying move that transforms a flirtation into a fealty. Conclusion, the price of the principality. So, there you have it. 7 principles from a 16th-century political treatise, weaponized for the most intimate of theaters. They are chillingly effective. They can build an aura of intoxicating, undeniable dominance. But we must return, in the end, to the warning. Machiavelli wrote for princes who wanted to hold on to power in a violent, treacherous world. The bedroom is not, for most, that world. It is where we seek not just conquest, but connection. Not just victory, but vulnerability. The relentless application of these tricks will make you a successful prince of a very small, very lonely, and very paranoid kingdom. You will constantly be watching for usurpers, doubting loyalties, and living behind a mask so thick you may forget your own face. You will attract subjects, not partners. You will command obedience, not share ecstasy. The true master of power knows when to wield it and when to lay it down. The ultimate dominance may be the security to be, at times, completely undefended. To exchange the prince's crown for the equal's embrace. Study these tricks. Understand the mechanics of power. Use them to defend against those who would wield them blindly. Or use them consciously, ethically, within the bounded, consensual games that some adults choose to play. But never forget, the greatest trick of all is to build a partnership so strong it needs no tricks. A republic of two, governed by mutual respect, is far harder to build than a principality of one. But its treasures are of a different, and perhaps more enduring, kind. As you leave this strategic analysis, ask yourself, do you want to be a prince in a bedroom, forever governing a domain of one? Or do you seek something else? The choice, as always, is yours. Choose wisely. If you found this philosophical dive into the dark arts of psychology compelling, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. We explore the shadows to better understand the light. Let me know in the comments, is such a strategic approach to intimacy a corruption of something sacred, or simply the acknowledgement of the power dynamics that have always existed there? Until next time, stay thoughtful.